Hello and welcome to Michi Designs. In today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to cut and sew Kit's apron and chef cap. So my daughter's career day is coming up in a few days time, and I'm making this apron for her that she's going to wear that day. She's going to dress as a chef that day. So I made a video for you to also learn from it. So today the measurement needed for this tutorial is the neck length, neck band length, the upper chest measurement, the waist measurement, and the desired length. So we're going to use a neckband length of 18 inches. You measure the person's neck round from the upper chest, one side of the upper chest. You take it around the neck, at the back of the neck, take it around to the other side of the upper chest. That's how to measure the neckband. Make sure the person is standing straight. So after measuring the neckband, we got 18 inches, and then I'm marking the neck width now, the upper chest. The width of the upper chest there is going to be 10 inches. So this fabric is on fold, so I marked 5 inches there. It's actually 8 inches. Then I added 2 inches for hemming allowance, so that's why I marked 5 inches. Then I came down by 7 inches where the apron is going to curve. I marked that there. So you have to measure it on the child's body too, to mark the place where the apron is going to curve. So I marked 7 inches where she will freely move her hands, because I'm going to attach rope on that 7 inches that she will tie at the back. And then her waist strand measurement is 30 inches. I divided it by 4 to get 8.5 inches, and then I marked extra 2 inches allowance for hemming allowance as well. Then from that waist measurement, I'm going to connect that measurement straight down to the hem, to the full length. It's going to be the same measurement with that waist measurement, and then we'll connect it. We'll now curve it to the upper chest measurement with a straight line. Then I'm going to use my free hand to curve it like the way you can curve your armhole. So you can as well use your armhole curve to make this curve I'm making right now with my free hand. So because I don't want it to have a sharp slant curve like that. I just want the curve to be like that of an armhole. So I'm using my free hand to curve it. I want to curve it out a bit. So after curving it, I will now cut out my apron. So then after cutting, the next thing we're going to do is to sew the belts and the neckband, and then you hem it round. So I'm cutting it out right now. It's as easy as that. Just connect the waist measurement with the hemming allowance straight down to your full length, and then you curve it to your upper chest where you are going to attach your neckband, and then you cut it out. So I'm done cutting it out right now. So I'm going to open it. Remember, the fabric is on fold, so I'm going to open it up, and then the next thing I'm going to do is to already cut out the ropes, the neckband and the belt. So I'm using belts of 16 inches length and then 4 inches width, and we are going to fold it together into 2, making it 2 inches on fold. Then we are going to sew the rope with half an inch. We're going to sew it with half an inch. Same thing with the neckband. I cut out 18 inches length and then 4 inches width. But then by the time you fold it into 2, you have 2 inches. Then you use half an inch to sew it. After sewing it, you'll be left with 1.5 inches width. So I'm going to sew the bands right now. I'm going to the sewing machine to sew the band and the belt. So after sewing, I'm going to turn it out. Remember, you sew with half an inch. So after sewing, I'm going to turn it out and then close up the other end of the rope neatly. So I'm trimming off the excess after sewing with half an inch right there. I'm just showing you this process so that you know exactly what you are doing, especially for beginners. So right now I'm done sewing the rope. I'm going to now hem the apron. I'm going to hem it round. I'm going to start with the sides. So that's why I added extra 2 inches hemming allowance. So you are going to fold twice. You fold once and then you fold in again. So that your edges will be neatly hemmed. So you can see me, I'm just taking my time to fold it, to fold the sides of the apron first. I'm just taking my time to fold it round. I'm just taking my time to fold this round. This tutorial is beginners friendly for those who don't really have sewing experience. You can do this on your own. It's very easy. That's why it's called DIY. Do it yourself. So I'm just taking my time to fold the side of the apron. You can see I'm folding the upper part of the apron where the curve, where you have the curve is, where you have the curve, sorry, below your upper chest. So you're going to, that's where you're going to fold last. You fold the upper part of the chest, you fold the sides, you fold the hem, you sew it down, and then you fold this curvy part. I'm just taking my time to do it. You can as well, if you don't have a sewing machine, you can use your thread and needle. Just use your hand sewing to sew this. For those of you who don't have sewing machine at home and who don't really have sewing experience that way, you can just use your thread and needle. Just fold it round and use your thread and needle and tack it neatly. It will still come out fine. You know, sometimes when you have kids and you have emergencies like this, you may not really have to spend so much money paying tailors to do this for you. You can do this at home. Really, you can do this at home. So I'm just taking my time to show you how I hem this. I could have done this off camera, but I'm doing this for the sake of beginners, you know, so they can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I have hemmed it round and then I attached the neck band with 1/2 inch there. You see, I just stitched it at the back of that upper chest. I did not fold it to stitch. I just placed it straight to stitch. Same thing with the belt. I placed it straight at the back of the apron and stitched it. I placed it straight at the back of the apron. I stitched it, and then our apron is ready. So I'm going to attach a pocket in front of this apron to make it more stylish. So this is me cutting out the pocket. I folded the fabric into 2. So I'm going to cut out a pocket of length of 8 inches, and then the width is going to be 12 inches. So I'm going to mark it on my apron, and it's going to be in front of the apron. Like, I'm going to place it at the center of the apron. So from the center, I marked 12 inches width, and then the length I marked 8 inches. Like, from the center, I placed my tape on the center. 12 inches is going to be 6 inches on each side of the center for my width, and then the length is 8 inches. Then I'm going to place my fabric on fold. I place it on fold. The 12 inches is going to be 6 inches on fold now, and then the 8 inches is still normal 8 inches long, the length. By the time I cut out this pocket now, I'm going to hem it round just the same way we did for the apron, to neatly hem it round before attaching it to the apron. You see what I'm doing right now? So I'm going to hem it round. I want to use this black fabric. I wanted to use a bias, but I don't have black bias right now, so I'm going to use this black fabric to turn the upper part of the pocket. So I just did that. So the next thing is to do our chef cap. So to get the chef cap, I cut out a fabric of 19 by 18 inches. You can use 18 by 18, and then I folded it into two. And then I folded it into two again, making it into 4. This is for the chef cap now. So after folding it into 4, I used my tape measure. I'm trying to make sure the fabric is neatly folded. So now it's folded into 4. So I used my tape measure to measure. I placed it at the end of the edge of that fold, and then I measured 8.5 inches round, making sure my tape is at the edge. I just move it, leave my tape at the edge there, move it round the fold. I'm marking 8.5 inches round the fold, after which I will cut out and connect the points together, and then I will cut it out. This is going to form a circle after cutting it out. Okay, so look at it. It's a circle. It's formed a circle. Then I'm going to gather it round. I'm going to run double stitch on it round and gather it. But before that, I'm going to mark 3 inches at one end of the circle and cut it open. I'm going to attach straps at this end. So after cutting it open, I'm going to turn it with a bias. Neatly turn that place with a bias. After doing that, and then you gather it. I ran a double stitch on it and then gathered it. I'm gathering it right now. By the time you finish gathering it, I cut out a band. I cut out 2.5 inches band. It's actually 5 inches. Then when you fold it together to give it 2.5 inches, and then I ironed it neatly. I folded it into 2. Then I'm going to start sewing with one side. I placed one side of the 2.5 inches on the cap round and sewed it round. After sewing it round, I'm going to now cover it up with the other part of the band, the remaining 2.5 inches. So I've finished sewing it round now. You can see me how it is. I've sewed one side of the band round the cap. Then I'm going to fold in the remaining 2.5 inches part of the band to cover the raw edges of my stitches, to cover it up inside the cap, so everything will look neat. I'm just trying to trim off the excess on that stitching. So now I'm folding in the remaining 2.5 inches in. I'm going to pin it down. I ironed an interfacing on this band to give it strength, to make it structure, so it can be firm a little. So I ironed paper stay on it to give it structure. So I'm pinning it around now to cover the rough edges that I stitched earlier with the other part of the band. So now I have stitched it round. See how it's looking neat, both inside and outside is looking neat. Then I'm attaching straps. These straps I cut 8 inches length, and then the 1.5 inches width. After sewing the straps with 1/2 inch, we are left with 1 inch. So I'm attaching it inside that band. I will now stitch it together, and then our cap is ready. You can see the baby rocking the apron and the cap. Thank you for watching this video.